This is a difficult story to tell, but a story that might help someone out there feel slightly less alone. I recently lost a baby and I want to talk about it. Hey, hello, how you doing? It's absolutely lovely to have you here on my channel. This is a place where we discuss matters of motivation, self-improvement, and good old-fashioned resilience. So, let's get into it. I started this channel a few months ago with all the best intentions in the world, uploading once a week, trying to get into the groove, really excited about this channel and just getting stuck into YouTube, when my life took a pretty drastic turn for the worse. At the time, I was riding a wave of joy and glee, ecstatic at the news that I was going to be a daddy. You see, my biggest dream in life, ever since I was a little boy myself, was to meet a wonderful woman and to have a family of my own. But sometimes in life, the things that seem the most attainable are often the most evasive. Now, for context, I'm currently engaged to an absolutely incredible person. Her name is Kath, and she, quite frankly, is my world. I am so lucky and so blessed to have her. It was several months ago now, as I say, that we found out that she was pregnant for the second time. Sadly, our first pregnancy was also a miscarriage. As you can imagine, we were over the moon, just incredibly happy. Any loving parents out there, of which I know there are absolutely millions, will know the feeling that I'm talking about. The test strip lines were super strong. She was very symptomatic. Boobs were tender, the whole 9 yards. And so, our doctor at the time decided to perform an early ultrasound scan, just in the context of the previous miscarriage, just to make sure that everything looked as it should. Well, alas, things did not look as they should. In fact, the doctor couldn't detect a yolk sac or indeed a heartbeat. I'll always remember her face as she did the scan, looking for any inclination as to what she was seeing was good or bad. If you've been through this, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I don't envy their task having to maintain the poker face of all poker faces, potentially having to give concerning or even heartbreaking news to hopeful women and their partners. The result was inconclusive, and we were told to come back in a week for another scan. A week passed, a week of pure agony, a week of trying to find any rational reason why there was no yolk sac, no heartbeat, a week of scouring YouTube, various forums, and the whole internet at large for some similar situation or story that had a happy ending, just so we could find some sort of hope to cling on to. And before we knew it, there we were again, back in that cold clinical room, getting another scan. Well, the news was final. It was dreadful and it was absolutely tragic. Now, Kath was pregnant. She had a pregnancy sac, but no yolk sac had formed and no heartbeat could be detected. And by this point, it really should have definitely been there. This is known as an anembryonic pregnancy. I had no idea just how many ways a miscarriage could happen. Eventually, she experienced a deeply painful, very excruciating miscarriage, which left her, and indeed me, in a world of physical pain and emotional turmoil. You know, miscarriage is such a devastating thing to happen to a couple, especially a couple that really, really wants to have children. That is not to say at all that this is not painful for couples that didn't plan on getting pregnant, or indeed even those that may have actively wanted to abort. But it is uniquely devastating in that both of you are suffering at the same time, for different reasons, but mostly for the same tragic reason. You want to be of support to your partner, but you feel weakened and almost unable to be fully present. It's a truly special kind of torture. Now, as I say, this is not my first lost child. However, at this point, I feel like a veteran. And how sad a thing to say that is. If you've clicked on this video, you might be going through this right now, hoping for some magical advice that I can give you to make it just a little bit better. I really, really wish I had that for you. I really do. But I don't think that there's anything that anyone can say to alleviate the pain that comes with losing a child. It is the cruelest thing in the world. I can think of few things where you can go from maximum joy to maximum despair in such a short space of time. Things like that just aren't ever going to be easy. Now, one prominent thing that I have noticed each time is that sadly the father, his plight and his concerns are at best a close second to the mother's, and at worst, an obligatory afterthought. Now, of course, the mother is and should be the primary concern through the entirety of pregnancy, including and especially during miscarriage. It would be foolish and arrogant to think otherwise. She is the one that is physically going through the ordeal. She is the one physically carrying the pregnancy. She's the one intrinsically linked to another human being. She is the one who has to physically suffer the sometimes and often excruciating and at times life-endangering miscarriage. So I don't for 1 second expect men to be treated with any sense of priority. But what I do want to say is this. Men feel these things deeply too. Men, especially those who yearn for children, are also left in pure and utter devastation, mentally, by these horrendous situations. Questions of, what do I do now? How do I support her? Will she be upset with me? Can we ever get pregnant? How am I going to get through this? Why us? They can and often do all flood to the surface. It's overwhelming. And though there is so much more light shone upon men's mental health these days, I found that in these scenarios, you can be somewhat overlooked and almost forgotten. For some reason, there is still stigma around the overall topic of miscarriage, even more so with men and their experiences. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, not enough people are talking about it. You might find people struggling to broach the topic with you. You might find very few people actually ask you how you're doing and how you're dealing with this world-ending, world-crushing event that's befallen you. You might find that people just don't know how to react when you seek their help. And you might find their responses, even those from people you thought to be your closest friends, to be somewhat inadequate. And I get that. I do, totally. It's an impossibly difficult subject to finesse your way around. Miscarriage is one of the worst things that a woman can go through. Not enough is said about the plight of women who sadly experience it, and not nearly enough is said about just how common it is. I had absolutely no idea. In my teens, my early 20s, I had no clue just how many women have miscarriages. Creating new life and harboring that inside you, nurturing it and loving it from the very moment you even sense that you're pregnant is by nature something absolutely unique to a woman. And to any woman watching this that has lost a baby before or is going through it right now, you have my sincerest condolences, and I wish nothing but the best for you. It's at these times these amazing and incredible women need your support, both physically, but perhaps more importantly, emotionally. Be there for them. Ask them if they want to talk about it. See if there's anything you can do, even if it's something small, to help alleviate or share the pain. Do try and give them an outlet through which they can process and share their agony. Do honor and validate their experience. Do check in with them periodically throughout this incredibly difficult time. Do understand and appreciate that this is such a profound loss. And in closing, as is the main point of this video, do try to remember that all of that advice also applies to the guy who thought he was going to be a daddy. Because in all likelihood, he's feeling it too. Life is hard. We all know this. And losing a child is not something easily dealt with at all. Nor is it easily forgotten, if ever. But in these hugely challenging times, though it won't take away your pain, it can help to remember the good in your life, to remember all that you're blessed with, and to try to maintain a sense of perspective. If you'd like to know more about that, click the video on screen now. I'll see you in the next one.